Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Do you want some coffee, Mrs. Foley?
Do I? Yes, have some.
Yes, have some.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Yes Have Some podcast. Thank you for being here. My name is Craig Goldberg. Welcome to the show. The golden years of YHS. We're 9 years in. This is our golden years. Why don't you go
This
sit
is like
your
our
ass on
midlife crisis.
I was watching Frozen Empire yesterday, and when Winston looks at Ray and goes, "Why don't you go sit your ass on a beach somewhere?" It is so funny, and I loved it. Hope everybody's having a great day. Kicking off the week with a little YHS. Thank you for being here live on a Monday night. Whether you watch us live, after the fact, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, we appreciate you being here. And it is a holiday. Happy. You don't say Happy Memorial Day. You just say today is Memorial Day. And
I learned working in restaurants. I was like, oh, you don't say happy.
You don't say happy because
Mhm.
it's a memorial.
Mhm.
But for those of you who were off work today, we hope you're enjoying your day. For those of you who worked, we hope that you're ignoring work and watching Yes Have Some podcast right now. That's what the plan is. Jacob, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm good. I'm well. Finished Andor last night.
Nice.
So it feels good to watch some good Star Wars for once in a while. You know, every now and then they got to put out a good one. So
Got to do a good one.
Feels good.
Good. Your YouTube plaque is looking good back there. That is nice.
It's nice
Oh,
and
yeah.
shine. I shine it before every episode.
You
That's
take
nice.
Yeah.
Yourself, you don't have someone else shine it.
No, I can't afford that.
I can't afford that. That's
Not
a
yet.
good job.
It's like how, like,
plaque
you know,
shiner.
like the guy in your neighborhood who takes a lot of pride. He's always out there washing his car, like waxing it every day. That's like you're out. You take it to the driveway.
Yeah.
Get a little
wash it.
toothbrush.
Wait, should I
detail.
start washing it outside so other people? I'll bring a table
Yeah.
outside, put it on the table, and then I'm just sitting there with the water hose squirting it like I'm
Yes.
washing a car.
Yes,
I
you're
love
welcome,
that.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
But you
I'm
didn't know
like,
the
"Hey,
celebrity lived
Hey,
here.
everybody!
Hey,
Washing
I
the
can
plaque.
wash yours next. Oh, you don't have one? Okay, back to mine.
Yeah, bring it out."
That's funny. Very cool. Abigail, how are you? How's your Monday treating you?
Monday's doing pretty good. I've just enjoyed the day, honestly. I took a really nice Memorial Day nap that I enjoyed, and I spent some time outside and hung out with my cats, who are all
I
really
took a
cool.
nap too.
It's a good nap.
Good nap.
It's a good day to rest.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's that time of year where it's getting hot out. Abby convinced me to go on a walk. I literally was kicking and screaming. I didn't want to. I was glad I did,
getting
but it's
too
so
hot.
hot. It's so humid and
so
gross.
hot. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we even had a fire going in the backyard the other day. I bought Abby. What is this thing I picked up? And it didn't really work.
Go get the picture of it. It's like a rainbow lighting effect, like a powder in a packet,
powder.
basically. It's like pop rocks for your fire. And
Yeah.
it makes like
Very cool.
kind of colorful flames, which are
Seems
predominantly
dangerous,
blue.
but
Yeah, it does, but like it's cool. I have yet to see any pink flames, which is what I'm really interested in. But the last
That's
when
what
I
I'm
was
getting into.
we'll get into pink flames. No, it was mostly blue and green, and yellow the other night. But it's also very like I am if anything, like a cat that just gets mesmerized by the lights and can just kind of sit and chill and relax for a while. So yeah.
I
Thanks for
was
buying
being
those.
chased by mosquitoes and I ran inside. I said, "You'll never find me in here." And they still did. So, well, listen, guys, there's a lot going on in the world of Yes Have Some podcasts. So we'll get into the episode tonight.
Craig, before we get into it, I just want to say, talking about YouTube, I was just looking at my my YouTube numbers have really slowed down. I really thought for a while I was gonna get that second plaque.
Okay.
But my subscribers have like for a while I was getting tons and tons. I'm still getting more than the YHS channel, but
oh, we're gonna be out there washing our plaque too.
But my subscribers are stuck around 721,000.
Ooh.
And it's been in
you're
the
really stuck.
Well, it's been in the 700s for a while.
Right.
It really it jumped several 100,000 really quickly within months, but it's been in the 700s for a while. And I just really want to get that million subscriber plaque. That's the next. If I get 1 million, I get a second plaque.
You get a plaque.
Hell
And
yeah,
I
get out of the
want
700 club.
One's not enough. I want a second one.
This is proof to anybody who does YouTube or content or anything like that. It only takes one video to change everything.
It does. It's true.
Yeah, very cool. I mean, look, we're gonna get a plaque. What do you get a plaque? 100,000?
Yes.
Okay. So here's the deal. YHS, we are kind of, if you guys probably noticed last week, we are really pushing to kind of expand our horizons a little bit here on YouTube. And one of the things we want to start doing are what was that?
Sorry, I was trying to get a link for Johnny Cock and a video started playing.
That's okay. I just want to make sure it wasn't on my end.
It was me.
It was me. It's me. I wish I wouldn't have done that. It was so embarrassing. Hey, there's a new Wicked movie coming out this year, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. But when the Wicked trailer comes out, we will be doing a reaction video. We did reactions, first time reactions last week to the new Jurassic World trailer, as well as the Welcome to Derry trailer, the new It prequel series. And the reaction was, well, our reaction was great, but the reaction to the reaction was phenomenal. I was talking to a friend, I won't call him out, but he does attack things, and his name's Peter. And he was saying he didn't even watch the Jurassic World trailer. The only version he watched of it was our reaction to it. And that's just the way the world works these days. So we'll be doing more videos like that. And any of the big releases that come out, we'll be doing standalone videos. And we appreciate you guys tuning in for that. That was really fun. Abby, did you enjoy early morning streaming or podcasting?
Yeah, I did.
Whatever
I
you
think
call
I
that.
mentioned it in the video. Like, I liked the roll out of bed, just get on the scene, talk about the movie, and discussing the trailer is just really fun. That was the first time that I'd watched both of those trailers, and I felt like we are able to approach that as like making it feel like you're just watching the trailer with a couple of friends rather than like you're watching for the most ridiculous facial reactions. I like putting some thought into stuff, and it honestly got me excited to watch and to get back into Stephen King. Like, I want to watch it again. That's been on my radar. So yeah,
very cool. So before we move forward, we do this from time to time. Are we all currently reading a book? I know I'm reading a book right now. Can you guys believe it?
What are you reading?
Yeah, I started a new book a couple days ago. And so I am reading The Firm by John Grisham. And
do you
what?
It seems that you try to seek out like what's the most boring book to read.
To Jacob.
Listen,
The Firm.
I've never seen the movie. When I was a kid, I was obsessed with John Grisham. I read The Client multiple times. And I bet Tom Cruise is everywhere right now promoting this Mission Impossible movie and eating popcorn and saving cinema one day at a time. And I started thinking about Tom Cruise, and I was like, I've seen most of his movies, but I've never seen The Firm. And I was like, oh, I want to watch The Firm. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to read it. So I'm reading The Firm. So far, so good. Abby, what are you reading?
I'm reading a little book called Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton.
Whoa.
Yeah, about like 5 chapters in. I fell asleep listening to it last night, and you kindly turned it off for me, so
I did.
I'm gonna rejoin. I like taking walks and listening to books on Audible, so that's what I'm gonna do.
Have you ever read a Michael Crichton book before?
No, this is my first. I'm enjoying the writing a lot. I'm enjoying the brutality. Excuse me. The like fact that it is so different from the movie in the story from the book being like much more like violent and kind of almost like Stephen King universe. Like, holy shit, I can't believe that I just read that. And I'm loving that part of it. And also it's fun to like be reading a book that I've never read before, and then like a chapter opens with Dr. Ian Malcolm's quote, and I just like get the full body chills. So look, oh, that's cool. You know, I've never really like taken it from this angle. And I'm loving it.
And every now and then you gotta just take it from.
You gotta take it from new angles sometimes. I'm enjoying the F out of it. And I also I've downloaded the next book in the King Killer Chronicles. So I'll be getting into that as well after Jurassic Park.
Nice. Jacob, are you reading anything right now?
I am, but it is not. I'm kind of reading a book. My coworker wrote a book.
Oh.
Which coworker?
Kelly. My coworker Kelly wrote a book. And she's trying to get people to read it. And she's a little frustrated because all the people who said they'd read it haven't done it. And I was like, well, I'll read it. I'll check it out. It is not my usual thing, but you know, she's a friend. She wrote a book. I'm going to read it.
Yeah.
You are such a good friend.
It's smut. It is straight up lesbians in space.
That's cool.
But it's like, you know, it's not. I have like a binder. It's so funny. She gave it to me in a binder, and it's like, she's like, hey, you can write on the page. She's like, if you read something and it doesn't make sense, or you get to something and like, if it seems like I've messed up something, just write it on the page. And it's like, you know, it's not long. It's like 150, 200 pages, something like that. It's not very big, but
you just take one.
A lot of fucking
page.
Dude, first page. Did you draw pictures?
There's no pictures, luckily.
You should leave a note on the first page. Humans can't breathe in space? ? Just give it back to her. Hey, that's really awesome.
Not go to space.
Yeah,
women.
Awesome. Women probably couldn't fly shit.
Not sure how they're gonna wear the suit. Yeah. Joking, obviously. That's really cool, Jacob. Cheers and props to her for doing that. I think that's incredible.
Yeah, it's cool.
You got to keep doing it.
Yeah, I actually agree with that, even though it's not, you know, I'm not usually reading smut, but
I'd love
it's also like, it's also a little weird reading a smut book written by someone you've known since like 4th grade, because it's just, I don't know, it's just weird. I'm like, cool, so I guess this is what Kelly's into. Yeah,
this is what's on your mind.
This is how Kelly likes it. So a little weird, but yeah, I'm checking it out. I just started it, and I'm gonna try to like knock it out and then get on to like, you know, a book that I'm interested in reading. Yeah,
more your special interest.
Yeah.
Very good. Very cool. Awesome. That's a good catch. I will. I'm gonna stick with The Firm. I'm actually like 4 or 5 chapters in, and very much enjoying it. So,
may I ask you, what did you love about The Client? Like when you were a kid?
Let me see what I can remember.
Stocks, bonds, checking in
That's
CDs,
what I'm saying, like,
CDs, checking.
Was there some good romance in it? Like, I'm like, what grabbed you?
Well,
I have no idea
what the client's about.
I don't know.
So it's like there's like a murder. And it's like a little kid, and I can't remember if the little kid kills somebody or is killed. But when I was at like, there's this really weird thing with me. I read so much like before the age of 12, like at a higher level than I probably should have been reading. Like I read Congo, I read Jurassic Park, Lost World, Andromeda Strain. Like I read tons of Crichton. I read a lot of John Grisham. I read the Hannibal book. I read a lot as a kid, and then I kind of fell away from it as I don't know why, because I started watching wrestling like an idiot. I was like, dang, this is cool too. Put that book
big, bright, easy entertainment versus like slow reading. Yeah.
Yeah.
Abby the Client is a fast-paced thriller based on a John Grisham bestseller about a boy whose life is endangered after he stumbles across vital information about a politician's murder. His lawyer is the only person offering protection from the unwanted attentions of the mob and the FBI.
Tommy Lee Jones is in the movie. The movie's cool. Yeah, this kid like sees this dude killing himself.
That sounds like something I will never watch in my life.
Well, listen, if I start reading like Tom Clancy, Clear and Present Danger, like war novels, then you guys have every right to leave me the F alone, because I'm gonna keep watching. Okay. Hey, I know there's a lot going on, but we have to talk about this because we've been talking about it all week, but actually haven't talked about it on our actual podcast yet. Join us coming up. Not that.
Black screen.
No. We're gonna do it, guys.
New
York City. Tickets are on sale now for Yes Have Some Podcast Live. This is gonna be so fun. So Friday night, June 6th in New York City, we are putting on a live YHS show to kick off Ghostbusters Day weekend. So they do this big event at the Firehouse every year, like a huge gathering of Ghostbusters for Ghostbusters Day. So that event is Saturday, June 7th. Jason Reitman's going to be there. The Alessi brothers are going to be playing Save of the Day on repeat. I'm going to put $1 in the hat and say, load it up again, brothers. We've never we've never gone to this event. We always like to do something cool on Ghostbusters Day. So of course we were like, well, there's gonna be a lot of YHS people there. There's gonna be Ghostbusters fans. Let's try to do a live show. So it's gonna be Friday night, June 6th, benefiting charity, live podcast show, open bar, exclusive print from John Yerkeba. We have badges and lanyards. Only 100 tickets available, selling very quickly. And they're available at yhspodcast.bigcartel.com. And yes, we will have special surprise guests that you will not want to miss.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not going to tell you who they are because of a lot of reasons, but mainly because it's going to be a surprise. It might even be a surprise to us. No, it's going to be really cool. Jacob, are you excited about this?
I am excited, especially because this is a little different from the premiere parties that we've done. This will be a podcast. We are going to get up in front of an audience and do a live podcast with special guests. Jay from Geek Dad Life is going to be there. And I think is he doing a little segment with us? Or
we're going to do some toy talk. A little bit. Yep.
But I do want to say, if you don't come to this, it might not. We're not going to film this and put this on YouTube. So this is special. This is for the people at the party. There's a possibility of it making its way to Patreon at some point. But if that happens, it won't be until down the road, and it will only be for Patreon members. So I just think if you're in New York, if you're in the area, and you're listening and you want to see us, you should come because it is going to be fun. And I know who the guests are. And they're good guests. So
they're good guests. And you know what? It's an intimate kind of thing. Like this is not, there's going to be 100, 115 people. It's at Rodney's Comedy Club, which is like a legendary comedy club in New York. This was the comedy club that Rodney Dangerfield founded in like the late 60s. It closed down a couple of years ago during COVID. They reopened it up as it used to be called Dangerfields. This is going to be a lot of fun. Abby, are you excited to, celebrate Ghostbusters and do a live show?
Yeah, I'm excited to be doing a podcast at a comedy club in New York City. And also
finally.
Oh, and we've done it before at conventions and such. But yeah, I'm excited to be talking about my favorite thing, which is Ghostbusters with some very cool people from the franchise. No spoilers, won't say anything. But yeah, it's one of those things that I'm ready for and I'm excited about. It's going to be such a big celebration of fun because we've got something big the next day to go to. That energy is going to be like palpable. Can't wait.
Hasbro's going to be there. They're doing some reveals on Ghostbusters Day. Try to get them to tease some stuff out. And shout out to the Buffalo Ghostbusters who put a lot of work into putting on the Ghostbusters Day event. I'm excited. So if you guys want to come, I don't expect tickets to be available at the door. Like we aren't going to be able to take your money at the door because it is a private event. So if you want to go, buy them in advance, get them now.
And there's only 100 tickets.
It's only 100 tickets.
Yeah, they're going.
They're already going. So
yes. And it's going to be fun. And like, this is a cool opportunity for us to like hang out with you guys and like, just do something different and unique and special, give back to, charity. It's great. Abby, anything else?
Yeah. Open bar for those who like to imbibe, exclusive print from John Yerkeba. I think we've mentioned all
Coke
that.
Zeros.
Yeah. And the money, that we're making is going to benefit firefighters in New York City. which just kind of makes sense. And it's nice to have that little bit of give back going on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be great. So we'll be talking about it this week and next week, but then it's happening. It's happening June 6th, which is Jake and I were planning some, future projects and stuff. And yesterday we were realizing, there's not that much time. Everything's happening like now. So we'll see you guys in New York. Hope you guys can make it out. It's going to be a heck of a good time.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to get this Geek Dad Life guy on stage. And I'm really going to tear him apart. No,
He's going to be on our platform now.
I'm just going to thank him. Like, hey, man, really appreciate you always like letting us do the Comic-Con panel. And you're such a positive guy. Although Ryan keeps saying that since GDL hit 20,000 YouTube subs, they've gone negative clickbait. So we'll ask him about it. Jacob, Ghostbusters Day, we always do something cool. There's gonna be like 1,000 people at the firehouse. It's gonna be hot.
Yeah.
It
is gonna be hot, isn't it? I haven't even looked.
Very hot.
God, it's gonna suck.
I'm imagining us getting like a fire hydrant going and like having like a water party because it is so hot.
Should we bring an inflatable pool?
We should.
Yes,
get a pool
we should have
going?
a dunk tank.
They're gonna shut the street down. What? I don't know. How's this happening?
That's what I'm imagining. It's like
Shut
the fun and excitement of the end of Frozen Empire happening there. Also, we're gonna wish Garaka would come out and do the
for the cold.
Yeah,
I like that.
The
big chill. I would wish Garaka would come out and put the big chill on DVD so we could all watch it together. See you guys out in New York. It's gonna be fun. Okay. Let's talk about Star Wars, which Abby, sometimes let's pretend Jake's not here for a second. Sometimes we say that and we don't get the best reaction, but I feel like today's going to be different. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm hopeful in a way that, well, when Andor came out, I knew how much I was enjoying it, and I knew how different it was content-wise from what we had been seeing from Star Wars. I was more than anything really eager to hear what Jacob's thoughts were on it, because all three of us, and I know Jacob and I share a lot of feelings about The Last Jedi and about Acolyte and some of the other offerings from Disney Star Wars.
Was a show.
Yeah, it was a show.
Forgot Acolyte happened.
Right.
Well, remember at Star Wars Celebration, Kathy Kennedy was like, "We've had Mandalorian and Andor and other shows.
Yeah,
other shows too."
Yeah.
Oh my god. So yeah, if you haven't seen Andor, we're gonna touch on some spoilers. Just that's a heads up, but I feel like most people have seen it now. But Jacob, 12 episodes, they're almost all around an hour. That is a lot of Star Wars content to take in. So how are you feeling having finished season 2? I guess we could start there.
I thought it was pretty good. You know, a lot of people are very, very hyped on it. And you know, like rightfully so. It's, you know, I didn't come out of it saying like, wow, this is the best thing I've ever seen. But it's really easy to love it when it's surrounded by a lot of like really weird, uneven Star Wars shows. You know, there's a lot of weird stuff happening, and like all the shows that have been coming out, they're always like I said, uneven. There's always stuff where I'm like, oh, well, this is kind of cool, but this is dumb, or this is dumb, or okay, I've had enough of this. You know, like I got really bored with Skeleton Crew. You know, I was like, you know, an episode of this is great, but it's like, all right, we're still doing this. It's just the same thing. And that's how Star Wars has just kind of felt for a while. And the first season of Andor was great. Rogue One is great. There was no part of me that thought like, well, it's not going to be good. And it is good. It's very good all the way through. Keeps your attention. It keeps you like, you know, like the first couple episodes are a little slow, which is not a bad thing. They're just like a little chill. And then once it gets going, it's like you cannot stop. I was like, nope, I got to see what I have to.
Right.
I have to finish this. And it's really, I mean, it's just, yeah, it's great the way it ties right in to the very beginning of Rogue One. And like literally,
did you end up watching?
I did not, but I'm going to. It made me want to put Rogue One on immediately, but it was really late last night, so I didn't. But I'm gonna.
Yeah. Tony Gilroy. Let's start there. Tony Gilroy, prolific writer and director, came into Star Wars. You know, if you remember back when Rogue One was being filmed, Gareth Edwards was the director of Rogue One. What else has Gareth Edwards did? He did 2014 Godzilla.
Yep, this movie called Monsters. This little movie called Jurassic World Rebirth.
Yep.
He's
done a lot.
He's mainly, I think his movies are mainly been pretty good, you know. So like, I remember being a little confused about the Star Wars stuff because I was like, usually generally he does great stuff.
The story kind of goes that Lucasfilm, Disney, they were not happy with what was happening on the original cut of Rogue One. It was a little disjointed. The production had kind of gotten out of hand, over budget, all the stuff that happens in movies. And they brought in this guy, Tony Gilroy, to basically fix it. He didn't get a director credit on the movie. That sounded when a nasally person says director credit, it sounds like they say director Krennic, who is a part of this.
Didn't get a Krennic this time.
I did get a directed credit. Tony Gilroy comes in. He gets a co-writing credit, pieces the movie together, reshoots the ending, cuts some stuff. Rogue One comes out, and like by and large is accepted as like this really amazing. We can't believe this movie about this team going to get the Death Star plans worked, and like most Star Wars fans seem to really like, even the people who are like, I hate Disney Star Wars. Well, I liked Rogue One, you know, that you hear that a lot. Yeah. So, they come to Tony Gilroy and say, you know, do you want to stay on Star Wars? He develops this prequel idea for Andor. 5-6 years later, here we are. We've had 2 seasons of Andor. Tony Gilroy, before stepping into Star Wars, did like a couple Bourne Ultimatums, Bourne Legacy, that movie Michael Clayton, a lot of stuff I haven't seen. I wonder if you
sounds like a lot of stuff you would read.
It sounds like all the books I like. He did that movie Nightcrawler. That's a cool movie.
Hey, that movie is great.
Yeah,
Nightcrawler is great.
So he does. So now we've got 2 seasons of Andor, and I think the first thing that really stood out to me, and you kind of cannot watch this show, Abby, without really comparing it to the other offerings in the Star Wars, modern universe. The characters of Andor. I came out of season 2 of Andor being like, these are my favorite people in all of Star Wars. Cassian Andor, Mon Mothma, Luthen Vale, like, and it's kind of crazy what Bix. It's great writing, but like I find myself every night thinking about like these I feel like a child who just discovered Luke Skywalker for the first time, which is crazy. But yeah, I wanted to kind of get your input and everybody's input on what would, just from the character perspective, especially compared to like the Poe Damerons of the world. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I understand. I think that Andor was, grounded in like a gritty reality of what real like espionage in the actual world has been like in the past. Like I feel like there was mention of like Russian war stuff being referenced in the show Andor.
Tony Gilroy has said his number one inspiration for Andor was the Russian Revolution. So that shows that's an interesting starting point. Yeah. And
you do get a little bit of like World War II vibes, and like the story behind it is how like the government is how that like affects the people of the country, like what their decisions, what the Empire is doing, and what they're building towards, and what they're keeping from people, and like what they're willing to sacrifice. And I think that tension, like that reminded me of watching old like 1940s, 1950s movies, like about the war and about like women who had to go undercover and have like a different character that they would have to play, or like I love that idea of like getting so close to the other side that maybe you start to understand them a little bit, or maybe you fall for someone from the other side. And there being 2 distinct, like good, evil. That's like serves the purpose of Star Wars, good storytelling, if you ask me. Instead of it being like a little adventure that we go and take and get a little feather in our hat, it being like, holy shit, tons of people are going to die. We all know historically what happens in A New Hope. Like we've seen this, but this is the actual build up to it. So you can like, you have something in your mind of where it's going, rather than like, where the fuck are, what are these witches doing? It's very much like each person's little movement affects some other thing down the line, and it just keeps at least it kept my attention that way.
Yeah.
I think
go for it. Yeah.
I think like the big thing here is that the writing is good. Like that it all boils down to that. Like the writing is really good. But Star Wars is always like the stuff that you see from the rebellion in most Star Wars movies is like let's jump on an X-wing and shoot lasers at something. And like that's okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like that serves the purpose and it's fine and it's fun and like no shade to any other Star Wars movies, but it's like they said, kind of like what you were just saying, Abby, like it's called Star Wars. Like, let's get into the actual war aspect. Like, let's get into the reality of what, it is to be a spy on a side, on one or another side of a faction going to war against each other or starting a war that's like beginning to start, and like kind of taking a lot of the humor and the silliness out of it and just like looking at it in a little more of a realistic tone. And that's what we got. It's like a different side. Like, Star Wars is a big universe. It's a big world. The war in question is huge and there's many people fighting it. And it doesn't all have to be lightsabers and
and I think that this show took the effects of real war and like what actually happens psychologically to people, and I think that it highlights PTSD in a way that no other Star Wars show has shown before. Bix's story in particular. No, you're good. You go off, pop off.
I was just gonna say it also makes the rebellion like. It makes them look like a bunch of badasses that in a way that they've never been before, because like the Rebel Alliance has always been great. It's like something we've always loved, but it's such like a surface level thing. It's just like the rebellion has always been this in every Star Wars movie. It's 10 people standing around a map going, well, it's another Death Star. You know what I mean? Like that's what the rebellion's been. But now all of a sudden it's a bunch of real people doing like insane, like badass stuff to further the cause.
Like risky, dangerous shit that affects large groups of people.
The buildup of Yavin as the rebel base to me is really, really cool in how it's being funded. And you've got like Saw Gerrera's like, he's for the cause, but he's doing it in his like domestic terrorist kind of way.
Right.
And then you've got Luthen, who to me as the show progressed, like first of all, anytime Luthen has the wig on and he's pretending to be an antiquities dealer, I love it. He's awesome, and he's it's one of those kind of characters where it's like, oh, he's getting on everyone's nerves and he's not going to listen to anybody, but his heart's in the right. He's doing it for the cause. And I thought by the end, him and his adopted daughter, Clayla, is it Clayla or Clea? I'll have to look that up.
Clayla,
she ended up being one of the best characters in the show. And by the way, by the time she's breaking into the hospital, it goes full on, because it's not a Star Wars movie or show until somebody is stealing a uniform and putting it on and sneaking it. So that is the marking of like, oh, she's gonna pretend to be a nurse now. We're doing Star Wars. This is awesome.
Hey, here's a fundamental question that I know has been asked a million times throughout the history of Star Wars. What's the point of Stormtroopers' armor? If you can be in Stormtrooper armor, get shot once by the very blaster you wield, and you die, what's the point of the armor? What are they wearing armor for if it doesn't?
It must just be
deflect. Like it doesn't even deflect. I would say that a Stormtrooper's blaster is kind of the like base level blaster, right? They're not like it kills them. Like you get shot in the shoulder, they're fucking dead. And I'm like, hold on. What is the point? Why doesn't it start in a world like Star Wars? You would think they would, that the Empire would be able to afford.
According to here it is. Here's the internet says Stormtrooper armor while visually imposing, was designed more for intimidation and a unified look than for actual protection.
Yeah. Yes, it's like they focused
so
on the wrong
insane.
thing as the Empire. Yeah.
It's like a Boy Scouts uniform. Oh, look
Right.
how intimidating they're looking.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what else it does? You know what else it does? When you put a mask on and you can't see the person's face behind it, it makes it so impersonal and much more easy for me to shoot you without consequences. Because it's like, well, I didn't shoot a person. I just shot a stormtrooper.
Yes. The faceless anonymity is what you're getting at. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, the ISB is really scary in Andor. Like scare the Imperials are like, I think in like original Star Wars lore, like obviously the Emperor and Darth Vader are scary, but when you get down to like just your uniformed Moffs and generals and stuff, like Tarkin's pretty scary, but he's also kind of smarmy, and they all are. But like,
well, it's the English accent.
It is.
I thought
Partagaz. It's the digital DA. It's the digital Tarkin that gets me every time. Partagaz, and then Deidre. I mean, what a awesome performance. I mean, she's one of those classic characters where she's so unlikable that you love her. And like, there's a scene, amazing villain, that scene early in the season where she's with Cyril and his mom comes over, and they're just, it's so like, there's so much tension, and like seeing like the home, like these people are doing oppressive things. He doesn't know as much as she does about what's going to actually happen on Gorman, but seeing like their home life and like that thing that it's always like the villains always think they're doing the right thing. Like it's just executed so well. And I think a lot of these other Star Wars shows suffer from like, the one thing that drives me nuts about all these Disney Plus shows, I'm like, why am I watching like a 28-minute episode? Let it breathe. Like, I don't like, I want to see this character develop.
12 episodes at an hour a piece. Like, that's a lot of Star Wars. And it's
awesome.
It's what these kind of stories deserve to, you know what I mean? It's like what it needs.
Yeah.
And I love that. Yeah, and because of that, they're able to do a lot of, like, this show spans years and years. Like every other episode is a year later, you know. So, yeah, I like that.
Right. Abby, as far as Luthen and Clea go, like the way she's in the show the whole time, but she's basically just his assistant, and then this switch flip sometime in the middle of season 2 where you're like, oh, she is.
Baby lets her hair down. Yep.
I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah, I know. That dynamic was incredible. And to have something where it's like just like a visible transformation, like, oh, it's been up like this, now it's down here, and I'm fucking awesome. I thought that was such an amazing twist for her character. I loved the idea of her working undercover at an antique shop. I love that like everything they're speaking is in code, and that she has to be really like straight-laced and hair pinned back and like uptight and like on guard the whole time. But then once shit really goes down in the last 2 or 3 episodes, it's like you gotta, like, she changes completely and like and takes on a different just not a different personality because it's still her, but just like a toughness that's really, really awesome to see on screen. And I think that as a female is really awesome to see. Also, watching Bix and Andor's story where she's dealing with PTSD and turning to substance and then finally gets closure. And I won't spoil what she does, but like those two characters have some moments of like walking kind of like the Joker out of the hospital burning kind of thing where it's like, they're fucking awesome. I'm so glad they just did that. Like, that's what Star Wars is here for. It's just to inspire.
Oh, when they set up, dude, how about Luthen and baby Clayla setting off those bombs in Naboo?
It's
that was awesome.
Yeah.
It's a really mature show. It's definitely it's a show. I think what I love about it ultimately is that it really focuses on like the human cost of the rebellion, right? Like these people are making sacrifices. They're sacrificing their personal life. Like Mon Mothma, like she leaves her family, she leaves her husband, she leaves her daughter. Like the rebellion, the cause is the driving force. It's not the force, but it is a driving force to the cause is the most important thing. And you see, I mean, Luthen makes the ultimate sacrifice instead of, I mean,
dude, yeah.
Dude, it really makes like all of the bickering and whining that Luke does in A New Hope. It just makes you want to be like, hey, dude, shut the fuck
You've
up.
been here a day.
You are magic, and these people are fucking dying. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like, hey, Luke, you just basically found out that you can never die because you're a Jedi and you're going to be a ghost and you can stay around forever. Yeah. But this guy had to stab himself in his guts to keep a secret from the Empire.
Yeah.
So
meanwhile, Luke's like,
you.
I saw a vision of Darth Vader in the cave.
R2.
Yeah, and I think that you really feel the weight of that if you watch the show Andor, like at least the second season, like we did into Rogue One, and then we put on A New Hope. We put it on our VHS player in the bedroom. And it was just like, fucking hurry up, guys! Like, god damn it, it's moving really slow.
I mean, it is true. Like,
it's like fucking Andor spending his entire life, going undercover and, having to literally murder people to keep secrets. And Luke is stuck in a trash compactor. At the mercy of C-3PO, 3PO!
Where could they be?
I think that takes some incredible storytelling and work and production to make something that comes before something that is so that we all know so well, and be like, that this material is heavier than the original stuff. Like, I think that's really cool. That's enrichment to the franchise.
It does. And listen, obviously, like, this is kind of one of the things we're going to get into is about canon, but I think that the exploration of the show of like fascism and how it functions and how it's rolled out and how it's executed and where rebellions like come from is really intricate and really like it's laid out in a way where it's unfolding on screen and you're feeling it and you're seeing it, like the Gorman Rebellion. They're chanting the not the theme song, the anthem, and you're just in it. And then cut to Luke. He's like, you know about the rebellion against the Empire? It's like, yeah, it's going, dude. Yeah. You are just a kid in Tatooine. Chill out. Everything's gonna be fine. But the sacrifices are crazy. Mm-hmm. And Andor is like, when I first heard the show was gonna happen, I was like, how are you gonna make a show about cat? Like the third most interesting character in Rogue One. Cool. Sure. But it doesn't retcon anything, and it very rarely do these like prequels actually make the original material like more enriching and feel like it's I don't want to. I've always liked Rogue One, but watching Rogue One after seeing Andor is a different experience. Mm-hmm. Also, knowing that Tony Gilroy is the guy doing it makes it feel less like fan fiction-y and more like this is a well-executed plan by a very incredible writer and director. It's just awesome.
But before we get into the canon talk, I just want the last thing on the show as a whole is that I like that it doesn't really feel the need to throw in like a flashy cameo, like a lot of not all of the shows do it, but a lot of them do. We got fucking characters, like important characters showing up, not like a celebrity cameo. I mean like, Rogue One's got Princess Leia, and then like C-3PO and R2 show like Darth Vader showing up in a show or something. Like, you get the feeling that Palpatine and Darth Vader are like literally outside the door of the room they're in. They're on the ship, right? Like in one of those last episodes when the one guy, I forget his name, but the Imperial guy who shoots himself, you kind of get, they're like, hey, I'm here to take you to them, and he doesn't say really where he's going. The dude's fucked up, and he knows he's in trouble, and I'm like, oh, is he taking, like, is this guy scared to have to be in a room in front of the Emperor and Darth Vader because he knows he fucked up, so he shoots him? Like, that is horrifying and really that's heavy. That's a
well, the
good
thing about
way.
Partagaz is his hair is pushed back, and he used to be a piece of shit.
used to be
He used to be a piece of
But that's a good.
He's a scary dude.
But that's a good way to really put some imposing, like, to really get in the head and make those characters even scarier. We're not even seeing them. Like, they could easily have just put a Darth Vader cameo at the end, or
Sure.
Palpatine, or Princess Leia, because she's,
Right. They talked
she's
about
doing stuff. They're all like, those characters are all around, and most people, and most, 9 times out of 10, they wouldn't be able to help themselves. They would be like, God, they got to put him in there. Put Princess Leia in there. And I'm just really glad they didn't do that.
No,
Yeah.
I would have supported if they
point.
decided Leia is an important enough character, which they very much could have. They could have said, like, hey, she's a key part of the rebellion as a diplomat, and as obviously the daughter of Bail Organa, who is obviously a key part of the show. Like, they could have done it. They could have recast her and I would have supported that, but just as like a throw-in cameo, I don't like that. It hasn't worked. It doesn't work at the it's weird at the end of Rogue One. Remember when Yoda's head pops up at the end of Acolyte, and like, you're like, what are we doing here? Like, hey, we know Yoda exists. We've seen Yoda in 20 movies. Like, either put him in the show or don't, because season 2 of Acolyte is going the way of the Sith. And the Jedi.
It's like a late grab for attention almost, and it means that your story is not as good as it needs to be like, oh, let's distract everyone quick with this. Whereas the thing that you're referencing, Jacob, when that whatever commanding officer shoots himself, that's like such a bold choice.
Partagaz.
Yeah. It's a fucking bold choice. It hits you. The fact that they do cut away from it, but you hear it, is like almost gives you more of a gut punch. And the fact that they made a really good plot choice like that, rather than being like, show them what they know, it really is makes it a much better show. Yeah.
And one of the things I wanted to talk about in general, and I thought we would talk about this in general for like different movie series and franchises and stuff, but I guess we could probably just keep it focused on Star Wars, is this thought about canon. Like, basically, like
she left us.
Well, we'll see. Computer didn't die. Oh no, she's back.
There she goes.
There's a thought. So K2SO is introduced in Andor season 2, and we see how he was an Imperial
captured,
security droid captured, reprogrammed, all that. And there's already been a comic released that told a different version of that story. And there's been some people saying like, oh, well, I don't know why they had to break canon. And it's always interesting to me because, like, we were talking about this. So basically, like, Star Wars forever had this extended universe of books and comics, right? The original Legends universe, Heir to the Empire, and Shadows of the Empire, and all that stuff. And then when Disney bought Lucas, they said, Control, Alt, Delete, erase. We're getting rid of all of that. And that was, people get really upset and mad about that. But the truth is, if you're going to try to rebuild Star Wars on screen, like, you cannot be beholden to books and comics.
Yeah.
You just can't. And even George Lucas himself was always like, well, none of that stuff means anything. Like, he's like,
people get really mad about it, and we like, we're gonna focus on Star Wars, like you said, but it happened with Ghostbusters, when Afterlife came out, because the game came out, and at the time, when the game come out, 2000 and something, 2009, the game was considered canon. All the the real actors from the movies came back, and then the movie comes out and it goes against stuff, and it's no longer canon. So I think it's like a little bit of a tricky thing, canon, because here's the way I look at it. I think if it's in a movie, if it's in a show, if it's in something live action, unless they specifically come out and say, hey, this is a different universe, or this is something different, then it's canon. But I think stuff like Rebels, like Clone Wars, comic books and novels, they might say they're canon, but I think they're what we can call soft canon. It's like it's canon until they need to change. Like it's canon material, but if they're making a movie and they want to do something in the movie that's going to go against one of those things, they don't care. They're going to change it, and what's in the live action movie is what becomes canon. That's just how they do it. And it's like the simple fact of the matter is because less of the fan base are watching the animated shows and reading the books. So they're not going to like, you know what I mean? They're not going to go against the thing that the minority, you know what I mean?
Sure. No, I do know what you mean. And I think going back to Ghostbusters real quick, I mean, just from a creative perspective, Jason Reitman comes in and he's going to do Ghostbusters Afterlife. If, let's say, I don't know who would have done this. Let's say Ivan Reitman was like, all right, Jason, you can do this and you can, you know, we're going to build Ghostbusters back, but just to let you know, you cannot contradict anything that happened in this video game. And it's like,
right.
You have to weigh like
that general public doesn't even know about.
Exactly. And I know there's guys out there who are like, Shandor exhibit. They knew. It's like, dude, the video game. Listen, the video game's awesome. And it's amazing. And it's crazy amazing that Harold and Dan and Bill and Ernie and everybody's in it. But it doesn't count. And that's okay. Canon. Yeah. I think the thing that we have to understand, and if you are the kind of person who's like, but for me, that's what I think of as the third story, that's also okay.
That's fine. Yeah.
None of this is real. And I think
canon shouldn't be so precious, I think is
like
go ahead, Abby.
No, that's just where I come in. Like having grown up raised on the Bible where there's Old Testament and there's New Testament, and you know, the Catholics have their other books and we don't, you know, it's just a bunch of fighting for no reason. Like if you're going to change the canon, even if it serves the plot and if it makes for a better story, then go for it. I have no problem with additional fan fiction stuff or with books written about characters that are not necessarily part of the canon. I think that anything that any creator is putting towards like just broadening a story or filling in stuff, I think that's great. I'm not going to judge it. And I think worrying too much about like, this is canon versus this is not canon, I think it's a silly thing to get mad about because overall, usually, I mean, these are just stories that we're telling each other and ourselves. Right. And if someone new has a good story, let them tell it, you know?
I will say there's got to be some sort of, you know, you can't, if they came out with a Star Wars sequel now and they went back and they took something from A New Hope and made it not canon, that is different. I don't think you can do that. Like, I think you stick with stuff that's in the movie, but like something from a book or a comic that's, you know, maybe not such a big deal, I think it's fine. But you know, Craig, we were talking about this the other day. I think like if you try to, if they would not have thrown out all of the novels and the comics and all that, then we wouldn't be getting any new Star Wars stuff. You know what I mean? You can't like, they're trying to fill in gaps of other spaces and time and other characters. And if we stuck to what was in the comic books, you would only be getting adaptations of stuff that there'd be nothing new because it's all already done. So you have to be okay with being like, all right, well, we did that 20 years ago. We're going to do something new here.
Here's a really good example. So, there's all these books that have come out, right? There's tons of books and comics that have been released under the Disney, you know, since Disney has purchased Lucasfilm. And then there was one, Cobb Vanth was originally introduced in one of these books. He was introduced in the Aftermath trilogy, which was one of the first series of books that came out right around the time of Force Awakens. And apparently how he acquires Boba Fett's armor in the book is different than what is on the show. And this is like a real point of contention for people who are like, well, the books are supposed to be canon. Like they need, like, the thing is, the way I look at this, and this is the way that maybe you can call it cheap, but this is what I think. like Abby was just saying, all these are just stories, right? The thing that really matters are the important beats of the story, right? The broad strokes are the really important stuff.
Yeah.
The themes. Yeah.
The themes. Listen, we know that in A New Hope, Darth Vader and Obi-Wan have a lightsaber battle. And until 2005, like we knew that they had a falling out at some point, and then they, like, I think it was depicted in some of the earlier books and comics, Mustafar that was introduced and stuff, but we don't really see it on screen until 2005. So the second that we saw Anakin and Obi-Wan have this 30-minute insane lava planet lightsaber duel, that right there becomes part of the canon, and it changes. You can make an argument that it kind of makes the meeting at the Death Star a little bit lackluster compared to the first one. So that's 2005. 18 years later, we get the Obi-Wan series, and we find out actually Darth and Obi-Wan met another time. And it's like
twice. They fight twice in that show.
They fight twice. So it's like I understand being like, that's great. And I also understand being like, well, that's a little frustrating, but like I always
but it's like it sorry to cut you off. Like, no, it might be frustrating, but here's your option. You get nothing. Right. Would you rather see like a show where they like, hey, you know what? We're going to make Hayden Christensen be amazing again and show you some really cool Darth Vader. Like, no matter what you think of Obi-Wan, the show was weird and whatever. But the scene in the last episode where Obi-Wan and Vader are fighting and the Vader mask gets ripped in half and Anakin is actually underneath and he says, "You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker, I did." That is a all-time great Star Wars moment.
Great.
And if you like got a problem with canon, then you don't get stuff like that.
Right. You know, the thing that drives me crazy too is like I just don't like, I love comic books are really cool, but the medium of them, you know, the artist's depiction of what's happening and the stories, sometimes they're great, sometimes they're not. And like I remember being like, man, I would have loved to see, I think it was on a podcast one time or something, I said I would have loved to seen how the Knights of Ren like recruited Kylo and how he became involved in that whole, and someone was like, well, they showed it. It was in a comic book. And I remember reading a couple of those comics and being like, well, this kind of sucks. This is not good. Yeah. This isn't how I envisioned it.
It's because go ahead, Abby.
Is that the rule then? If it sucks, it's not canon? Because that was just a thought that came up in my mind.
That's my rule. This sucks, not canon.
I think with something specifically like comic books, there's so much output. There's so many comic books being made. You know, there's probably thousands of Star Wars comic books out there. You can't like, I don't think George Lucas is sitting around and okaying the stories and the art and the depiction of characters in every single Star Wars comic book. So like there's, you know, generally like a very wide range of probably quality of story or what's happening in the, you know what I mean? So it's that's why that stuff can't be like precious canon, because there's so much of it and it is such a wide range.
I mean,
of shit.
even like I know the Bad Batch, and Jake, I know you didn't watch that, but they changed a lot of Kanan Jarrus's like in Rebels, like there was a comic series about Kanan and what happens with him in Order 66, and they changed some of that. I kind of think there's almost like a hierarchy where like it's like movies are top dog, and then TV series are like right for Star Wars right there. I think for Marvel the shows are a little bit like here, but the TV series are pretty close to the movies for Star Wars. And then it's like the animated shows, and then books, and then comics, and like once you get into that 100% world,
agree with that.
And the thing is like eventually, this is what is going to happen eventually. Eventually, they're going to make like a live action Clone Wars show, right? With Anakin and Ahsoka. And there's going to be something in there that contradicts something else that has been depicted earlier.
Right.
And the truth is, like you were just saying, the more content there is,
what
are you supposed to do? Have a story, a writer's room of 30 people pouring through every Star Wars comic that's ever been written, trying to figure out if Cobb Vanth's armor's the right color. It's crazy.
That's another thing you can't expect every creator of a new series or a new show or a new book. They're not. I get it gets harder and harder to go back and watch or read. I've seen, actors doing interviews who are in Star Wars projects or Marvel projects or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, I haven't seen all the movies." You're in it. Mm-hmm. It's like you can't. It's a lot of content to consume. So you can't really just expect them all to be super up and up on every single bit of content for Star Wars that's out there.
Right.
Tony Gilroy has said. Tony Gilroy, he was on the Happy Sad Confused podcast, and he said he was annoyed to find out that somebody had written a K2 comic book in between him doing Rogue One and Andor. And his quote is said, he says, "No, I'm not paying attention to that." And that's part of the other thing too. Is like,
I love
you've got like if, and I think this is why Jason Reitman and Gil Kenan wanted to be really involved with the new Ghostbusters comics, because they don't want a writer going out there and writing something that either interferes with something they're like you and I think I think that's easier to control in the world of Ghostbusters than it is in Star Wars, where you've got Marvel comics and then there's Dark Horse comics, and oh man, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. So Abby, anything else on
just speaking to the written word content and how that is maybe secondary to like movies and TV? I have to say that our conversation made me go up and get this book off the shelf, which is my favorite Star Wars book, and it is not canon decidedly. The Wildlife of Star Wars. This shit is awesome. The stuff about the bantha. It says here, when Tusken Raiders marry, the couple's banthas also mate, and afterwards, the bonds between the species become inexplicably close. When a Tusken Raider couple has a son or daughter, then their banthas often produce equivalent male or female offspring. Upon the death of a raider or its bantha, sympathetic suicide and depression often occur in the species left behind. It's fucking deep.
Banthas commit suicide. That's insane.
Yes, literally, they're like bonded, and I love that lore. I love that story. But it's not necessarily like canon, because before.
So I don't remember Robert Rodriguez making Boba Fett being like, "Hey, we gotta have these banthas kill themselves if these Tusken Raiders mate." It's in the book.
They gotta mate, have a kid, and then commit suicide. Yeah, it's a lot. But it's definitely it's stuff that I appreciate, and I think that if you're too strict on your canon rules, then you don't get to enjoy as much.
Yeah. And here's another thing. We dealt a lot with this around the time of Ghostbusters Afterlife, where Ghostbusters Afterlife didn't go out of its way to explicitly mention any of the events of Ghostbusters 2. Mm-hmm. Even though there's a scene in Ray's Occult Books, which is like, and then there's a Geiger meter, and there's like, and fans would get into this huge discussion of like, oh no, there's Ghostbusters 2 didn't happen. And it's like, just because something isn't talked about doesn't mean it's been decanonized, like it that's always a really interesting thing too. And I think that comes down to like people just being in general really bad communicators and not understanding things.
I mean, that's like saying, oh fuck, the three of us have not had a conversation about how we went to Horror Nights in 2023 in a while, and if we don't talk about it soon, it's gonna get decanonized.
Right. That's so weird. Yeah. And I think
it's not referenced doesn't mean it's not canon. If it's contradicting the plot, then I suppose you could raise a question about that.
Listen, I don't know that much about Star Trek, but I have a feeling Star Trek deals with this a lot as well, because there's so many shows, there's so many books.
Yeah.
I
mean, Star Trek's like pretty insane, because I mean you got like 7 different versions of the Klingons, and at one point, that's always been a weird thing for me, is like the Klingons look so different from series to series that they look like a different species, and in one show they tried to explain it, but then it changes again, and it's like, all right guys, what are we doing?
What are we doing here? Mm-hmm. I think the key to all this is like tell the best story. Like don't go. I don't want anybody to make any like I don't want somebody to make a Star Wars movie and sacrifice like really important plot points of previous Star Wars movies in order to tell a new story. Like I like it would be stupid and a bummer if they were like, we're gonna do a new trilogy that reveals Anakin actually wasn't important at all. It's like, okay, well then that's
they did that. They already did that. It's called the sequel trilogy.
It's called the thread.
Bring me the girl, Ray. Yeah, I just think, listen, and I think healthy debate about this stuff is one of the things that makes fandom fun. Kind of like we started talking about at the beginning. Like, none of this is real. Wish it was. It is way. But Abby, you brought up like the religious aspect about like the texts of the Bible, the Old Testament, the New Testament, and like everybody picks and all these different.
The more rigid and nitpicky you get, like it's pointless. It's futile. It's wasting time. Yeah. It's like if we all are enjoying the same material, then there's no reason to like criticize and drag it down and find differences. Because we're all fans of the same thing.
Yeah. But all in all, Andor was just really well done. And it kind of, you know, it enhances Rogue One. And I found even when we were watching A New Hope, I was thinking about the sacrifice that all these people made and how Luke and Han are going to get medals. And they've been there for like 3 days.
You're right.
It's so true.
Yeah, I'm sure like all the rebels at the after party were like, cool.
So, hey, what's his name again? Like,
Luke
that's literally
Skywalker?
Luke just jumps into that battle last minute. They're like, what? Who?
That guy told me to shape it up last week.
Yeah, I know. It's so funny.
That's very funny.
Yeah. You know what it is? It's because like Leia was kind of uppity and she decided these are my friends and they're very important in the like let's talk you want to talk about weird canon stuff and storytelling? Like Leia's entire planet is destroyed in front of her and including her entire family. And like 2 scenes later, she's like laying in the cell, like, aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper? By the way, my parents are dead. I don't even care. I'm having fun.
Let's say she hasn't processed her trauma and she's in shock.
Exactly.
But I don't know if that.
She processes her trauma by kissing her brother.
100%. That's canon.
Hey, which that was before Luke and Leia were considered brother and sister, and then after that movie came out, they said, "Hey, you know what? Let's break that canon. They're brother and sister now." Like that is a breaking of canon because of that. So,
if it serves the plot, if it betters the story, you got to do it.
How about people? I read this recently that coming out of Empire, there was a lot of a lot of people did not like Empire when it came out. Yeah. People found it to be dark and cynical, and apparently the big fandom discussion was Darth Vader lying to Luke about being his dad, and there was people who just wouldn't accept it. And I thought I was like kind of interesting.
Even if that was like considered to be, even if you found out that was a real thing, it seems like something an evil guy would do to try to manipulate. You know, like, ooh, I'm gonna fuck with him and tell him I'm his dad.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then they did it on White Lotus.
Yeah. What?
The other great space opera.
When that
White
guy
Lotus.
told Walton Goggins he was his dad.
After he shot
right. I was thinking about all right.
It's cool. You're thinking about the other thing.
We were just talking about
family
twins.
Stuff.
Uh-huh.
We're talking about family stuff.
Oh, yeah. They did. Yeah. Imagine if that was what the Star Wars scene. It would have been way harder to come back from that.
You wouldn't have been able to come back from that one.
If Luke and Leia were going for a roll in the garbage compactor. Anyways,
cool. We did it.
Cool,
guys. This was fun. I like this. This is good.
Yeah.
This was good discussion.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments what you think. And the last point. They will. Jacob, the point I made to you last night was at some point in like 20 years, they're going to have to erase everything again.
Yeah, probably. Like, it's either here's what I think will probably happen, and it's what you want to happen. The only way to really, there's only like two good ways to kind of get away from the issue of breaking the canon. And it's either to just erase it all and start over, or, as you say, go like 1,000 years in the future where none of it matters and just whole new characters, whatever. So
take the building blocks and
just kind of start over, but away from those characters and stuff. So one of those two things will happen at some point.
I wonder if what is his name? Simon Kinberg. Is that his name? He's doing a new trilogy. And I wonder if that, like, I would be totally down for like a new saga trilogy, starting with, doing a copy paste of the original like format, but just, you said 10,000 years in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Well, have it's not going to be that, because
people be like, no, you can't.
They're already, I don't think that's what that trilogy is going to be, but
I keep seeing it in my head as like, when you're a kid and you're playing with like building blocks or cards and you're making a fort or a castle, it's like, that's sort of like you're taking the basic elements and you're building it up to look like something, and you appreciate it and you sit back and you're like, wow, this house of cards or blocks or whatever, maybe both, looks awesome. But then after staring at it for like 5 months or 6 months, you want to like start again and kind of like knock into it and then be like, let me see what I can do with it if we change a few things around. So I think it should be, canon shouldn't be so rigid, I think.
Yeah.
And I think I've said that a few times.
I think we've done it. All right, there we go. Guys, this was a lot of fun. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for checking out Yes Have Some Podcast. You can find us on social media at YHS Podcast on Instagram and X. We have a TikTok, we have a Facebook, we have all the things. Go out and find them. But we cross post a lot of the same content. So follow us on one of them. And you can keep up to date with everything we've got going on. We got them all. We've got patreon.com/yeshavesome weekly bonus episodes. Last week's was really fun. I took a tour of all my old websites from when I was 12 years old that I used to make, and I'll leave it at that. It was wild. Mm-hmm. And a lot was revealed about me. I feel
Craig has a nickname that he gave himself. That
we'll
have to sign up to find out.
Patreon only. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Patreon only.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's not canon.
It's not. That is not a canon moment in my life. And then we got the big show in New York, June 6th, just a couple weeks away. If you're coming out there, let us know. Can't wait to see everybody. Jacob, I'll give you the final word tonight.
Oh boy. Hey, Andor's good. Watch it and feel good about like not having to kind of be nervous while watching a Star Wars show that it's going to completely fall apart in a couple episodes.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. You did it.
Hell yeah. Andor is really good. Andor is good because they put real trauma in it. Come
on, Andor.
I like Andor.
Andor, go to the safe house.
Go see Andor.
Yeah, it was really cool. It's when Star Wars is great, it's so fun. When it's not great, it's such a bummer. So, all right, everybody. We will see you next week for more from Yes Have Some Podcast, and we will see everybody tomorrow night on Toy Anxiety. And happy Star Wars life. That's all we care about, apparently.
What?
Oh, I didn't even know I did that. Look at that. Cool. Get yourself
How'd you get balloons?
Where'd you get those balloons?
Bampa bonding weekend trip. Yeah, I put a peace sign means balloons. I didn't even know that. I'm gonna have to do that in therapy tomorrow. After I say something really sad. Yay!
Bye, everybody.
Bye.